Hello, everybody. This is stage 37 from the Cambridge Latin course. This is the About the Language 2, still indirect statements. This time we are looking at the perfect passive infinitive. So, indirect statements, we're all pretty much familiar with that concept right now, but basically, just to review, in English, this is something like, I see that you are walking down the street. I know that you are walking down the street. I think that you are walking down the street. So we have a head verb. This is what I call a head verb. Say, think, feel, understand, even taste. You could say like, I taste that the cracker is salty. And then we have what in Latin I call the twisted object. In grammar books, you'll find it's called the subject accusative. So in my sentence, I see that you are walking down the street. So you is that subject accusative. This is what I call the twisted object. It is because it is accusative in Latin. And it's sort of twisted in two different ways. It's both the object of the head verb, so I see that you, but it's also the subject of what will be an infinitive in Latin, right? I see that you are walking. So in Latin, it would be te, because that's accusative, and walking would be ambulare, because we're going to use that infinitive there. Now, that's an example of an indirect statement where everything is happening in the present tense. I see right now that you right now are walking down the street. About the language one was using an example of an indirect statement with a perfect active infinitive. So I see that you walked down the street. Okay, now this about the language is the perfect passive infinitive. So still in the past, but this time the action is passive, all right? So for instance, look at this example number one, skio. Let me zoom in here. Skio captivos. I know that the prisoners. Now liberatus esse, this verb liberare means to free. And so here, I know that the captives have been freed. Or honestly, you could say, I know that the captives were freed. So that action happened before the head verb, right? Perfect tense, past tense, but it's also passive. So look at another example. The freedman says that a message, or here we've defined it as a messenger, has been sent from Agricola or by Agricola. And we could also say the freedman says that a messenger was sent by Agricola. So in both cases here, liberatus esse, missum esse, we're taking the perfect passive infinitive and we're putting those into indirect statements. Now, the two things are happening here. One is that we understand the indirect statement part of it, but the other thing, and this is really the only new thing here, is the morphology of the perfect passive infinitive. Now, the really nice thing is that we've already learned the perfect passive participle. So we've already learned liberatos, the fourth principal part of that verb, libero, liberare, liberavi, liberatus. That's the perfect passive participle. So to make it an infinitive, we just throw esse at the end of it. So liberatos esse is the perfect passive infinitive. Think of the other verb here, mitto, mittera, misi, missus. Well, missus is our perfect passive participle. It's the fourth principal part of that verb. To make it the perfect passive infinitive, we just put esse at the end of it. All right? So really, those two things are what you need to practice here with this about the language. And when we get into these sentences, you can see the direct statement here would be many Caledonians, many Scots, have been killed. Well, the second version of this is the indirect statement. In this letter, Agricola announces that many Scots have been killed. So notice two things happening, or really more than two things, a couple things here. One, here's your head verb, nuntiat, right? He announces, he says that, he announces that. Here is that subject accusative. So remember, it was the subject in the direct statement, it was the subject of our verb, so it was nominative. But here, it is the twisted object, or it is the subject accusative, so we put those in the accusative case. And then we have our infinitive, and in this case, it is the perfect passive infinitive. So take a look at this page, work on the example exercises, take a look at the examples here, especially in the morphology of porto, portare, doceo, trajo, audio, and then keep looking at the examples down here and work through these exercises A through F. Good luck, everybody.